Welcome to Travel Contact. In this webinar, we will focus on giving you an introduction to our trips, transactions, and our reports module. So basically, we're going to go over trips, transactions, and reports. So let's start with the trip module, which is the one you're seeing right now. As you'll see, we have the complete list of all the trips created, which can be filtered by the different statuses. You can do a simple search through the search bar, or you can go ahead and do an advanced search by entering any of the criteria we show here. Creating a trip is very simple in Travel Contact. You just have to locate the Create Trip button, click on it, and now enter the required fields. In this case, it's going to be a trip name and assigning it a main contact. You can look for a main contact in your database, or you can go ahead and create a new one right from here. If you create a new one, it will need to follow the same step and require fields as usual: a first name, a last name, and a method of contact. Once you've created that client, it can be added as main contact, and a trip can be created. I'll show you a trip that has been previously created, so we can go ahead and start reviewing the features of the trip module. Once I open this, you'll see that we have a very simple dashboard that we call it in Travel Contact, which is going to have the entire summary of everything that is going on the trip. You'll be able to see pending invoices, payments, costs, commissions, all types of services that you've created, and the basic information such as main contact, dates for this trip, and the size of the party as well. Before we go any further, I just want to show you the top bar, which is, it will have all of our sections, of course, but also the status bar, which is going to give you a summary, total trip cost, total trip commission, the ability to import from GDS, and finally the status bar. To explain the status bar real quick, all you need to do is that once a trip is created, it's going to go automatically to be a draft. Once I start negotiating with a client, I can do that manually and move that status right here by clicking on this icon that you'll see right here. After I create all services, once I confirm at least one service, this is going to become a confirmed trip, and it's going to move ahead to this status that we have right here. And then the rest of the statuses are going to be automatic, in the sense that once we are 1 week away from the first date of the first service that is going to take place, then it's going to become an upcoming trip. And then the day that when it arrives, the day of the first day of any service that we have in the trip, then it's going to become an active trip. Once the last date of any service that it's included in the trip arrives, it's going to become recent. And then finally, you can either cancel it, mark it as lost, or cancel it if it was confirmed, or mark it as closed, after receiving the last payment or the last commission. That's going to be the last manual status that you can manage here in Travel Contact. So that being said, I just want to show you, the step-by-step of the trip. Once the trip is created, we have the dashboard. Let's go on to the clients module. You'll see here that I have already added my clients. To add a client to a trip, all you need to do is click on Add Clients and then fill out the information. You can look for it on our database, or you can create one right away following the standard process of creating a client. After having a client list, one of the things that you can do is actually create paying groups. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to show you. The idea of the groups is having something already sorted out in case you want to split the cost of services further down the line. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and create a new group. Right here, I need to give it a name. So let's say Bogarts. You can add a description if you want. Then you get to select which clients are going on the trip, and within that group, choose a main client, and you go ahead and click on Save. So that group is going to be created right away. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a second group for the people who are missing. So in this case, it's going to be Moral. And then I'm going to choose the 2 remaining clients and then make someone the main client. Once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And now I have created my groups. You'll see that if I go back to my client page, you'll see that right here underneath this column, it will let you know right away if they're added to a group and they exist on a group already. So now we move on to the service. So the service feature has undergone new developments, and it's a really cool place. what we're giving you the option to do right now. So if I click on add service, you'll see that we have three options of adding service. So quick add, it's going to be, as it says on the name, the quickest way to add services to a trip, in the sense that it's going to require the less amount of required fields. So you will be able to create services, to this trip with the essential information, in order to create this trip. So this is going to be the most popular and used one in a sense. Then we're going to have the import from GDS. So we do have an integration with Sabre. So if you are booking anything through Sabre, it's already reserved and booked. All you need to do is enter the PNR code or the reservation code, and Travel Contact will pull all that information from the Sabre network down to our platform, and it's going to show it to you in the Travel Contact way, and you'll be able to access and do all the same things that you can do with any type of service in the trips. You'll be able to do it after you import it from the GDS. And then finally, the one we're going to use for the example today, which is the advanced. The advanced feature or the advanced way of adding services to a trip is going to give you, the most amount of functionalities, because it's going to ask you for the most amount of details. So in that sense, if you want to, for example, use a different currency, if you want to split the cost between clients, if you want to create itineraries, then the way to go would be through advanced. That being said, it does not mean that if you do a quick add or import from GDS, you won't be able to create itineraries. You will, but at the moment that you are creating that itinerary, the platform will ask for a little bit more details. So if you are using our UMAP integration, or you want to split the cost or use different currencies, advanced will be the way to go. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to do a lodging. So the first thing that you'll see when you're adding a lodging service is now that we can add with subservices or without subservices. So basically, if you have a hotel which also, arranges tours and restaurants, then you can go ahead and do that with subservices. If not, you can go ahead and create that without subservices. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm just going to go ahead and do it without subservices. You'll see that when I click, a new window opens from the right, and now we'll get to enter all the information regarding this specific service. So the first thing you'll need to answer, if this was purchased through an intermediary, yes or no. In this case, I'm going to leave it at no. If you were to select yes, then you would need to enter a subcategory. Aside from that, you'll be able to enter the name of the hotel right here. So let's say I am going to stay at Four Seasons. So now I have all my options here. I can go ahead and say Four Seasons Greece. I don't know if it's added, but let's check it out. So in this case, I don't have one. If I have Four Seasons Athens, it's going to look for it. I don't have it as well, so I'm just going to say, okay, just add me a Four Seasons, and that would be it. I can go ahead, if it's not something that I find right away, I can either choose, the entire chain and just keep it at that, or I can go ahead and add a new supplier right here from the get-go. So all I need to do is select the type of supplier I'm adding, the name. It's going to go ahead, in the case of, for example, lodging, it's going to do a Google search. So let's say I wanted to look for hotels in Athens. It's going to go, and look for them and find them and give me results. In any case, I'm just going to use the Four Seasons for this example. It's going to give me all the information. I need to enter the dates, which is the other required field that I have right here. This is a trip that's taking place in 2021, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll as fast as I can to May, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose the 19th, and then I'm going to do that for a week. So then I click on next. And now you'll see that I have the ability to select the clients that are actually taking the trip. So you can choose them all, you can choose none, or you can just, pick and choose however you see fit. If you wanted to add a new client to the trip, you can go ahead and do that right here to the service, just by clicking on Add Clients, and then you can look for it from your database, or you can add it altogether brand new. So now I can get to add the rooms that we're going to have right here. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this two people right here. If I click outside the box, you'll see that I can start using, for example, let's say this suite. So it's going to give me the categories. I can enter a confirmation number for this. And then if I have a specific request for a number of type of beds, I can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add the rooms. And when you see that you already created a room, the two people that of course are already in the room will disappear from the possible list. I choose the remaining two. I follow the same template right here, so I choose the suite as well. Confirmation number, it's going to be this one, and finally only one bed as well. Once everything is set right here, I go ahead and click on add room. Now I have my two rooms created, so you'll see that I have room 1 and room 2, and then that's going to be it. So now I can go ahead and I can save the service right now as it is with all the information, and then add the cost information, or I can click on next and add it right away. So that's what we're going to do for the purpose of showing you guys how to do this in the platform. So you'll get your service success message right here, letting you know that the service was actually saved. And then we're going to go ahead and get our cost page. So you'll see that the first thing that's going to ask you always regarding cost and travel contact is who the payment is going to. The reason for this is that we just want to structure the data on the accounting section, and you'll know exactly who the payment is going to. It's going to allow you to invoice or not the services that you're creating. So if the payment is going to the agency, then you'll be able to create an invoice for that service. If the payment is going directly to supplier, then of course you won't be able to invoice, because since you're not getting any money, it doesn't make any sense, that you create an invoice, because you're not acting as an intermediary, so you're not getting the money to pay the supplier later on, or it's not a fee that you're winning. You're only, the client's paying directly to the supplier. So those type of services will be confirmed, but they won't be invoiced. If the payment is going to the agency, it would be both invoiced and confirmed. So in this sense, I'm going to go ahead and choose the agency. Do I want to split the cost between the groups? So you can just say no and create a general invoice for this. But for the purpose of everything that we're doing right here, I'm going to say yes. And you'll see that when I answer yes, a new window will open, and finally it's going to let me ask me, okay, who do you want to split the cost between? So I'm going to say the two groups, and then I'm going to click on save and add cost. So in this sense, it's going to ask me right away, do I want to distribute this evenly between the existing groups, or I want to do it manually and assign individual amounts to each of the groups? In this sense, I'm going to say yes and click on next, so it's going to be divided evenly between both existing groups. You'll see right now that I have all the information to enter. So the pay type, which is a required field, I'm going to say gross. If at any point you have doubts, guys, of what we are asking for you or from you in a specific field, all you need to do is hover over the eye, and it's going to show you exactly what we're looking for. So in this sense, is there a commission to receive from supplier? I'm going to say yes. The commission is going to be by percentage. So the total amount first, so I can do a percentage for that. Let's say the total amount for a week. So this is going to be the total amount for the service. Let's say it's going to be $12,000. I'm going to say percentage, and then I'm going to say I'm getting 20%. Is the tax included? Yes. Are there an additional markup? Let's say yes. And more. Do I have any service fee? Let's say yes, because I'm paying with a credit card. And that is going also to the agency, and it's going to be established by a percentage, and it's going to be a 7%. Sorry, so it's going to be a 7%. So now I have everything ready. You'll see that automatically I start adding the cost. It went ahead and did the division right here. So you'll see that Bogarts and Morales will each have their own part. So this is going to be the commission, the total group cost, and the service fee, etc. You're going to have everything right here. And I'm going to say, okay, I just want to confirm and save. So now that I confirmed and save, I usually get my success message right here. And then you'll see that we have the group details right here. So I know that the commission is going to be 20%. I'm going to have the total amount for each group, and you'll have it right here, and then you'll have the total cost of the service, of the service, at the end. If I wanted to pay this in, let's say, a different currency, then I can just go ahead and choose anything that I want from here. Let's say I wanted to do the St. Helena pound. It will vary by the exchange rate. Then I say yes and accept, of course. And then here's the details. We take a currency rate from Google. That is the one that we find on the internet for you guys, but you can go ahead and enter a custom rate at any point. So if you have a better rate or you're getting a rate somewhere else, then you can enter that custom rate right here and simply, just keep it right now. If you start, if it's a trip that it's really long in the future, for example, being the case right now, if at any point you need to change this custom rate or, update it, then you can do so, and then you can show history right here and keep tabs of it right away. So let's go back to making this US dollars. So it's, fairly quicker, and then we can get back to doing our entire service creation and trip creation, so you guys can learn how to do this in the platform. So let's say it's going to remain US dollars. I have the entire, information right here. Then it's already saved. Is there anything else that I need to check here? So everything's checked. Everything's checked. So yeah, we can close. We can go ahead and save and close that details. So you'll see that we have it right here. It's going to be a proposal right away, and then the next step follows. So you'll see here that when I click on actions, I can actually go back and review any information about the service, edit, change, all of that was still in proposal. I can add documents, add a different service in case I have a sub-service to add to this hotel, or I can delete it. Since I was, like I was telling you before, since this is something that is being paid to the agency, I can go ahead and confirm an invoice. There are different things right here, and I'm just going to go through the quick add real quick, and add a new service so you guys can see how to do bundle invoices or how to do different information. So let's say I wanted to add a flight real quick. In this case, it's going to be American Airlines. I'm going to choose this. Dates, I'm going to go right ahead as well to 2021. So we're here on May 19th. End date is going to be the same 19th. I'm going to choose 4 clients. I'm going to go ahead and enter costs. And right now I'm going to choose this as payment to the agency as well. And let's say it's going to be $5,000. It's going to be net gross type. The commission is going to be 30, and it's not going to have a markup. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another service, also by American Airlines. But what I'm going to do in this service is I'm going to choose the payment going to the supplier instead of the agency. So that way you'll be able to see the difference when confirming an invoice, what happens and how it's seen on the platform. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is happening on the 28th. Then you would arrive on the same 28th. The same 4 clients. Let's go ahead and enter the cost. So now I'm going to choose supplier instead of agency. I'm going to say the cost is going to be fairly the same. Here we go, and then choose right here 30% as well, no markup. So once I've added all of this, I can go ahead and click on save. And now the services will be added to the service list, right away. You see that it makes no difference if I go through the advanced or the quick add or the GDS. It's always going to come up exactly the same way on the service list. So once I have everything right here, there are a couple of things I can do. I can go ahead, as I showed you before, I can start confirming this individually. I can go ahead, for example, and choose, the American Airlines. I have payment to agency, and then the Four Seasons, I have payment to agency. And then I can go ahead and, in actions right here, confirm invoice only this 2 and leave the other one in proposal. Or I can, simply uncheck everything and just click on confirm on the status bar. If I click confirm on the status bar, you'll see that right away we have a division as well. So both of the services that are actually being paid to the agency are going to become one invoice and confirmed, and the one that is being paid to the provider, it's only going to be confirmed. You'll see that we have the description right here, and then you can understand exactly what's going on when you do it. But I just want to show you the division that the platform takes into account. So in this sense, I'm going to click continue, and everything's going to be confirmed. Right now, for the 2 services that I have, which is the Four Seasons and the flight, which are for the agency, it's going to ask me the details to create the actual invoice. You'll see that I can add tax, discounts, and set a due date for this, and also change the main client if I needed to. In this sense, I'm going to leave everything as it is, and I'm going to go ahead and click on create. So I get my success message, and everything is being created. So now everything's confirmed, and I'm going to show you later on the accounting section what to do with it. But before we get there, let's go through the itinerary section. So every time you create a service in Travel Contact, it's going to go right ahead through our itinerary section. You'll see that we create a basic itinerary. It's just going to show you a timeline, who is going on the trips, on the services, and the basic information about those. We create a general itinerary, and we also do individual itineraries. So if you want to see only, for example, what Connie Moreau is doing, then you can select her and only see her itinerary. And there are a couple of things that you can do from the itinerary section. You can download this as a summary with cost or without cost. And then you can send it to your client at any point, or if you build it as part of a bundle or print it out or anything that you might need to do. You can go ahead and send it to your client directly from the platform using the same sense, with cost and without cost. And then finally, you can go ahead and publish this to UMap. So you can show it in UMap if you already publish it to it, or you can go ahead and create this itinerary on UMap. If you do have the integration, this is a great way to keep working on that itinerary and use all the features that UMap has, which is the web itinerary, and then you can add pictures, and they can pull all that sort of information from their database, and then you can send it to your client, and they can have it on their mobile app as well. Whichever way you choose to do, we have that option for you in Travel Contact in the itinerary section. Now, that being said, let's go over to accounting. So the accounting section is basically where you'll see all the invoices generated, and you'll have the option to add payments. You will also be able to see information on the expecting commission for each service and add the payments to suppliers as well. You'll see all the categories right here, the ones I'm talking about. If you want to see a specific invoice, you'll need to find it right here. Of course, in this case, we only have one invoice, but if you had many, then they will simply be on a list right here. And then you can, do whatever you need to do with it right here. For example, if I wanted to see all the services included in this specific invoice, I can just go ahead and click on this drop-down list. If not, what I wanted to do is, click on actions, and now you'll see I have all the options available. So I can enter a payment, I can view the invoice, I can edit the invoice, or I can delete it at any point. So in this way, let's view the invoice right away. So I can show you all the, the different things that you can do with an invoice. So you can change the color of the invoice as well. You can change the font. You can change the logo if you don't want to use the one that it's currently preset, or if you don't have a preset one, then you can add it right here. You can also add terms. We have terms in different levels. We have agency presets, user presets, and you can add a new one. And you can have simple terms or extended terms as well. And right here, you'll be able to keep track of all the payments being made to that specific invoice. So once the invoice is done, you can, of course, download it as a PDF at any point. You can do it itemized or non-itemized. That would be up to you on what you want to see and how you want to see that invoice in the end. And you can also report payment. So there are two places where you can report the payment. You can do it right here by clicking on Add Payment and simply, clicking on Add Payment as well. And then you'll see a little new box that opens up, a new window. You can report, this payment. Let's say that it was received today, or in any of the dates during this month. So let's say it's going to be in this date, and then I'm going to go and say, okay, from this I got $10,000. All right. So select the payment method. Let's say it was check, and finally it was a deposit because there's still more payment to receive. I click on Add, and now you'll see that automatically math changes right here. Payment is reported, and then I can go ahead and close, and now it's going to update the invoice for me. So once that invoice has been updated, you'll see that we have the total cost, for the service, how much has been paid, and what is the balance due. You can report as many payments as you get from your client. So I show you one way to enter payments. The other way to enter payment is going right here to where it says actions, clicking on it, and just go ahead and enter payment, and you'll see the same thing happen. You'll go to the same place, click on Add Payment, and now you can report different payments as well to that invoice. Now let's take a look at what happened with the supplier payments, which is the next tab that we have right here. So in the supplier payments, you'll be able to see right now how much, for example, the exact description of the trip. If you have a due date for this payment, you can mark it and manage it right here. You can also enter payment. For example, if you know that your client already paid, then you can do it right here to keep track of it. You can manage payments at any point. In order to manage payment, what you can do right here is register the invoice number, date issued, and all the information that you have from the payment that your client did. So of course, this helps as well is if, for example, um, you're managing a payment that is going that your client lets you know that they already paid the supplier, you can have it right here. You can upload that invoice as well and keep all this information pertinent for your client, so it can be updated at any point. And then, of course, you can do it individually. And once you're done, you can go ahead and mark it as paid if you were to report any payments to this. So by clicking on mark it as paid, you'll see that it disappears. I mean, it just changes status to paid, and then everything will be set, and you'll know that that is already taken care of, and it's a one less worry on your list of getting your client on your trip. Also, you will have the option to review the commissions right here. So in the sense, the commissions will let you know exactly when commissions are coming in, what is the exact commission for each service. You'll have the total bars right here where you'll get to manage and see everything that you have incoming regarding commissions for this specific trip and all the services that it includes. So that is a little bit about the accounting section, the task notes and documents. You'll be able to see all tasks associated with the trip. You can add new ones by clicking right here on Add Task, and this is going to show up right here on the trip, and it's going to go to your dashboard as well. And then you can just keep notes on anything that you want on the trip for your client, such as, the client loves Italian food, or he really likes to, when he rents a car, it needs to be a stick or it needs to be automatic. You can keep all of that right here in this section of the trip. And finally, the history is going to give you a little bit of accountability and show you exactly, who has been working on what, the action that was done, who was the agent that did it, and finally the date and now where it was done it. So you can just keep track of the entire accountability for the trip. That being said, then now let's go to the transaction module, which is the second module we're going to review in this webinar. Right here, you'll see that we have 4 tabs on top. So service, commissions, and invoices is going to be available for all users in the platform. And then we're going to have a fourth tab, which is input commissions, which is going to be available only for our admin users. In the sense, the reason basically is because here you'll be able to review information, and here you can actually alter it or enter new information. So let's go ahead and review each one of them so you guys can understand a little bit more about what's happening with each individual tab of the transaction module. So on the service reports, basically you're going to have the entire list of all the services that were created on the trip. Of course, when you are a regular user, you'll only be able to see your own service reports. If you're an admin, you'll be able to see all of them. You'll see here that you can review by specific agent, or you can see all of them. You can play with the date range as well to filter that, and you can also filter by different date criteria. So if you want to see start date, end date, confirmation date, or creation date, that's going to help with the date range that you set right here. At any point, you can export this information. It's going to be exported into a CSV file. So you guys can, export it and then work on it with different tools and keep working on it on Excel, applying whatever filters or tools that you might need. But you can review it right here and then export it to keep them, any way you might need them. On the commission reports, basically they're divided into 3, which is not received, meaning the client has not paid any, or the supplier has not paid out the commission yet to the agency. Then not paid basically means that the agency has it, but the agent has yet to receive. And finally, of course, paid to the agent means that the agent already received that commission. As you see, the common ground between all 3 of them is that you still have, different filters in order to review them as you might see fit. And of course, you can export this as well at any point. Before we get into input commissions, I just want to show you the invoice report, which is basically the same thing as the previous 2, but with invoices. So you'll be able to track all invoices created right here, and you'll have all the information regarding, balance due, amount paid, etc. All from here, you can as well filter this by status of the invoice. You can go ahead and set a date range as well, and of course you can export it at any point. Now for the input commission section, basically this is going to be something for the admin users, as I was telling you before. You'll be able to see that you can search for individual commissions by any different amount of criteria, such as confirmation number, client name, agent name, and all the ones that you see right here. And then that's going to basically show you the commission. And once you click on actions, you can go ahead and enter those commissions or manage commission details. But by entering commissions, basically you'll be able to input commissions that you've received and enter all the data for them, so agents can further know when they're being paid or receiving that commission. So you'll see here that you can go ahead and enter all this information. For example, who is it coming, the commission type, when it was received, etc., etc. You can manage everything from this module. That being said, after reviewing individual commissions, you can go ahead and also do batch commissions. So if you want to do batch commissions, what you can do is you can also search for any type of thing or type of commission that you're looking for. In this case, let's say that if you wanted to see, for suppliers, then if you would enter Four Seasons here, it's going to show me in case I have any, already created a batch payment for this. Since I haven't created a batch payment for this, if I click on new input and then I go ahead and say, okay, I just want to see, let me show you right now. If I were to click on Four Seasons, it's going to bring forth all details that I have created for Four Seasons, and then I can mark them and just enter, a commission in a batch sense. Many commissions included, only one payment form, and then that's going to be great for when you guys get checks or wire transfers that cover many services. Then that's going to be the way to do it right here. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and say, let's go to reports, because let's review the final and third module that we're reviewing in this webinar. Here, basically, you'll find detailed and comprehensive analytics that in the end is going to help you with decision making. It is important for you to know this module will only be available for those agencies that are subscribed to the Pro plan after the end of the trial period. So if this is something that interests you, then definitely go for the Pro plan, because it's going to help you, manage and have access to all of this. So the idea behind this module is basically that Travel Contact wants to enable you to monitor sales and commissions for the entire company or independent agents, as well as supplier and client performance, to help you identify basically the most important opportunities and risk areas, while helping you make data-driven decisions and not just shooting in the dark. So you'll see that in the amount section, we're going to have a general summary of the entire operation, all the services that have been sold. You can check out, for example, current year, or you can go back and review any of the years that you've had operations with. You can review those by month and see specifics. Right here, you can check out gross amount, agency commission, or agent's commission as well, here in the amount section. If we go to suppliers, and this is one of the ones that I actually find the coolest, in the sense that it's going to show you exactly how much business you're sending to specific suppliers. So you'll see right now that we have a date range, of course, and date criteria. You can review it for all agents or individual agents. But for example, you can choose and say, okay, I just want to see how I'm selling lodging and how well the agency is performing with hotel or any type of lodging sales. So you'll see that this opens and lets you know exactly how many services you've created that are lodging, how many people are going into those services, gross amounts, a lot of information. And then basically you can go ahead and click on right here, view suppliers. And this will allow you to see the exact properties that you're sending business to. Basically, this is going to give you the tools to negotiate, better rates or let's say free amenities or upgrades for your clients, because finally you'll have the numbers in your hand to let know any type of property, any type of provider or supplier, exactly how much business you're sending their way. So this is going to be great for you guys, because in the end, it's more negotiating tools and a lot more data-driven decisions, as we were saying before. And then finally, we have the agents module, which is going to be kind of a performance review. You'll be able to manage this as well with date criteria. You can see individual agents. And for example, here I have a list of all my agents and how they've been, performing. I can choose individual ones to see a little bit more in depth. of what they've been doing, and you'll see that we get, all types of graphs and pie charts, and also here you'll see the entire amount of services sold, the commission received, and exactly divided by, how much commission for each individual service, and all the rest of the information that we have right here. You can also manage the payroll site and know if there are any agent fees or any, bonuses or fees that you need to incur in or charge your advisor for, then you can review it right here. This, of course, as well, it's possible to export this and then keep it at hand for whatever you need. You'll see that it also is downloaded as an Excel file. Before we end this webinar, after showing you these three different modules that we have, I just wanted to let you know that we do have a lot of support dedicated for you guys. The different kind of webinars that you can access to and you can review online after they are done as well, because the recordings will be up. So you can review webinars at any time. You can go ahead and click on this help icon, and this is going to give you access to all the information we have regarding, different, it could be tutorials, it could be frequently asked questions, it could be videos, it could be anything that you might need to look for within Travel Contact. So let's say I wanted to look at, I have a commissions question. So if I type the word, it's going to show me all the articles I have on commissions or that they are in the platform. So let's say I want to how to enter a batch commission, which is something that we just reviewed. You'll have the step-by-step guide right here, and then you can go ahead and actually, go further more into more articles if this is not enough. And if you still have any doubts or you have a problem with the platform or there's something that you just want to talk to somebody in support about, then you can go ahead and leave us a ticket. All we need is your name, which is, well, you can see optional, but we do need your email address to help us a little bit understand the problem that you're having or the doubt that you're having. You can even add the attachments to this and then click on send, and somebody from our support team will get this right away, and they will contact you as soon as they can to help you with whatever you might be needing at the moment. We also have our Learning Academy, which basically is going to give you a more detailed flow by flow, going step by step on what you need to do. So let's say I wanted to create a trip, and if I type create a trip right here, you'll see that it's going to give me all the options regarding kind of my search criteria. And if I click create trip, it's going to show me exactly where to go and exactly where to click in order to achieve that goal that I wanted to learn how to do on Travel Contact. So I just need to follow that flow and get to the end, and I will have accomplished my task finally. And the other thing that you have at your complete, service, and we're more than happy to help, is you can contact your assigned Travel Contact guru at any point. You can write an email directly to them, asking them for a little bit more help, explanation, or that you just want to review something. Just feel free to ask them and contact them, and they will help you to the best of their ability. So I hope you guys got a little bit more information about the platform from this webinar. Thank you so much for your time. And you still have doubts, you need anything, you can also contact us by writing to support@travelcontact.com. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.